Welcome to Speed Talk Live, which isn't really live, but is a poorly produced podcast featuring me and my big mouth rattling off, sometimes incoherently, about racing and sometimes featuring what we hope are interesting guests. I'm Greg Engel. Let's get this party started. Welcome, everybody. We're back again for another week. We're coming out of the Indy week. We're heading into Watkins Glen and one more race after that. Daytona International Speedway and the 2023, I got to remember what year it is, the 2023 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs will be beginning. This week we talked to Ricky Stenhouse Jr. We'll get to that in a minute. We're going to recap Indy and we're going to talk about Watkins Glen, especially with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. So what's going on here? I'm in Florida this week, Florida today, where I live in Orlando. It has been raining, which is a very, very good thing. Last week, we had 3 days, 2 consecutive, of 99 degrees. Now, let me tell you something, boys and girls. Here in Florida, we call 99 degrees nope. Now, look, I get it. For those of you who live up north, you say, come on, you live in Florida. You don't go there for the balmy weather all the time. And it's true that in the winter, when you guys are shoveling snow, we're down here in 70, 80 degrees, and we have to suffer through the summer. But you know what? Even 99 degrees for us is really, really hot. But that heat wave is broken, and we're moving on. It's starting to rain again. That's normally what keeps us sane, is we get these afternoon showers during the summer, and that's what keeps our temperature down. So we're back to that again. So it's not blazingly hot here, and my air conditioner is not weeping, which like literally crying. And of course, my electric bill, we won't even talk about that. Today is my dog Michaela's gotcha day. We got the 3-year-old about 3 years ago. So she's 6 now. She is a German Shepherd pit bull, which scared the hell out of me when I first heard about it and got her, but she was a rescue, of course. And we got her 3 years ago. She is now 5 years old. She is the biggest, lovablest, 120 pounds worth of muscle, and the smartest dog I ever had. So happy gotcha day to Michaela. You can't see her. She's laying back there on the floor at my feet. So anyway, you didn't want to hear me ramble on. Let's talk about Indy. Michael McDowell won at Indy in convincing fashion.
The 38-year-old is going to win at Indianapolis.
Yes, Ricky,
Rick, could you pick 2 better wins than the Daytona 500 for the first career win and the second one at Indianapolis? It puts him in the playoffs. Michael, as a young man who was coming up through open wheel racing, did you ever dream you would win here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway?
Oh man, this is such a dream come true. I'm so thankful to everybody at Front Row Motorsports, Bob Jenkins, Horizon Hobbies, Left Shop Soft Freight Auction, Chicago Pneumatic. Man, we had a fast forward Mustang. Everybody at Roush H Engine Shop, Doug, these guys gave me everything today. We had the fastest car. We executed, we did what we needed to do. Just so thankful. So thankful to still be grinding it out in the Cup Series. To put on a performance like that, I don't know if it was dominant, but it felt pretty dominant to me.
Welcome to the playoffs. What were the emotions on those final few laps? Because Chase Elliott was closing quick.
You know, I was really trying to pace myself. I figured there'd be a late race caution. I didn't want to burn my stuff up. So I was just trying to maintain that gap. Then when I got into traffic, started closing, I had to push it, but I just can't believe it. So thankful to Bob Jenkins, all of our partners, Bell Racing Helmets, Sparco. There's so many people that help us. So thankful to everybody that's stuck behind us. It's been a grind, and I'm so proud.
Did you think the path to the playoffs for your team was with a win, and much less, I'll go with dominant as well, a dominant win?
You know, I thought we could point our way in, but after the car that we had yesterday in practice, I thought, man, we got a good shot at winning if we could just get track position and maintain it. So yeah, I can't believe it. So thankful. Also, Wiley X, I don't know where they're at right now. They should be on my head, but they've been with me for over 10 years, and it's great to have partners like that.
Michael, what does it mean to have the family here to celebrate a win in Indianapolis, a place you always dreamed of just racing at, but it also puts you in the playoffs?
Yeah, it's such a big deal. I mean, winning the Daytona 500 was one of the coolest moments you could ever have. But going to victory lane without your family, that was tough. And so we cherry pick. My family comes to the races we think we can win. We thought we could win this one. Just so proud.
There you go, Michael McDowell, the emotion. Jamie walks in. He's in the playoffs. He wins at Indianapolis, a place coming up through racing, Rick. He dreamed of racing. Now he's won it. He'll get to kiss the bricks in a moment.
Of course, it was a great win. It was a liked win. Michael McDowell is one of those guys who is always liked when he wins, and he won at Daytona. Let's face it, he won the Daytona 500. That was because of an accident that he was able to avoid. Doesn't matter. He still got the check. He still got the trophy. He still got the ring, and now he's gotten to kiss the bricks at Indy. So good for him. I'm really thrilled that he won, and he did it in convincing fashion. I mean, he led the most laps and was really checking out. Of course, that puts Chase Elliott in a must-win situation the next two races if he hopes to make the playoffs. Now, people are saying if Chase Elliott doesn't make the playoffs, it's going to be a terrible thing. But if you remember back a few years ago, Tony Stewart, when he was in his prime, he missed the playoffs one year. I forget, I think it was 2010. He missed the playoffs, and guess what? NASCAR raced on, they crowned the champion, and we all had a good time. That'll happen the same way if Chase Elliott doesn't make the playoffs. Of course, some of the reasons that he might miss the playoffs are his fault. He was suspended for a race. That doesn't help. He had a broken leg and missed 6 races, so he's missed a total of 7 races. So it would be a good comeback story if of course he could get into the championship. I almost called it the chase. If he could get into the playoffs, and it could be a Kyle Busch type story, but I don't think it's going to happen. I hope so. It'd be great if he did, but you know what? We'll race on just the same, and it'll be the same kind of playoffs that we ever have, and we'll crown a winner, and I'll be at Phoenix to be in part of that. Looking forward to that. I'll be at Daytona. I'm not going to Watkins Glen this weekend, but I will be at Daytona. I'll be at Darlington and a bunch of other races in the playoffs like I always do. So let's talk about Indy, because ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it looks like the experiment is ended. That experiment, of course, being the road course, which we went to in 2021. Monday and Tuesday, they tested the oval, a couple drivers, including Chase Briscoe, which I was happy for Chase because he's an Indiana native. I'm an Indiana native. I grew up around Indy, so being on the oval is a lot bigger deal to me and to Chase than the road course. So I'm looking forward to it. All signs point to that. After the test, of course, we'll go back to the oval, and that started a lot of controversy because, of course, the last time we raced on the oval was 2020. Harvick won that in an overtime finish after Denny Hamlin lost a tire late in the going, and it set up an overtime finish. It wasn't exactly a thrilling finish. I mean, it was an overtime finish, but Harvick grabbed the lead on the first lap and never looked back and won by nearly a second. The big deal that year, of course, is they moved it to July 4th. The July 4th weekend, which a lot of us purists weren't on board with, because I was used to being at Daytona for July 4th weekend, and they decided to move it, and then they replaced it with they moved it to later in the year, and then they put Road America there, which I wish we would go back to Road America on the Cup Series side, but they elected to go to Chicago. There's been a lot of history, good and bad, on the oval. And by the time we decided to leave there in 2020 after Harvick's win, of course, we didn't have any spectators because of COVID, but the races weren't well attended leading up to that. Remember the Super Weekend in 2012 when we had IMSA racing on the road course? We also had the Xfinity Series racing on the road course on Saturday, and we had IMSA on Friday, and they called it the Super Weekend. That only lasted one weekend. And of course, we can't forget the tire controversy in 2008. I was there for that race, and it was horrible. We couldn't run more than 10 laps without blowing a tire. So the Goodyear tire test this week was important just so we can avoid that. We hadn't had any problems since then like that. But of course, Goodyear's getting ready for that. I think we are going back to the oval. I think it'll be great. And of course, there's people that have been screaming to go back to the oval. And I'm telling you, NASCAR fans are fickle, ladies and gentlemen. Because when we were racing at the oval, people called it boring. People called, the stands were empty and oh, it's lost its magic. And then they decided to put it on the road course. And now those same fans are screaming, let's go back to the oval and the way it was. And I didn't know, I really wasn't sure about going back to the oval. I think it's fine. NASCAR can do what they want to do based on what they think is going to be the best thing for them. However, I heard Dale Jr. on his podcast this week, and he brought up a very good point. When we were racing on the oval last time, we had lower horsepower, we had bigger spoilers, the cars, it was harder to pass. And if you think about it, some of the 2.5 mile speedway races we've had this year have been pretty good, pretty exciting. So if we can get the car right, I think it's going to be great on the oval. And like Dale Jr. pointed out, because of course, if Dale Jr. says it, it's gospel, and I believe that. But when we go back there, if the racing's not what it should be, rather than just abandoning it and maybe going to the road course again, maybe we should just work on the car. Maybe we should just work on the car on the oval. It's not the track's fault, just like he said. It's not the track's fault at all, and I agree with that. Indy, to race on the oval, I think, is the most prestigious thing in the world, regardless of what you're racing. And I think it'll be great if we do go back to the oval. So let's hope it happens. All signs point to that, and nothing official yet. NASCAR's not announced their schedule. I'm telling you this, and I don't have any inside information. I've got my passport for next year. I have a feeling that we're going to have a race overseas next year, whether that's in Canada or there's even talk of doing something in Wembley. I mean, in England. Look at the success we had at the LA Coliseum. I think that's going to be on the table. I think they're talking about it, and that would be fantastic. So I'm renewing my passport and getting ready, because certainly that's a race I'd want to be at, just like I was at the last 2 LA races, which were fantastic. You really need to be at something like that. I know maybe watching on TV is not the greatest thing in the world, but to be there in the city, in LA, with all the energy and all the fans and people who've never seen a NASCAR race in person, it was great. It was great for the sport. So if they decide to go back there, that's great. I'll go back to LA any day of the week. But if they decide to go to someplace like England, yeah, I'm on board with that. Let's give it a shot. We can never, it can never be bad to try it. So we'll see. But they expect the schedule to come out in a couple months. And I used to say that don't expect any surprises, because for years the schedule hardly changed. But you know what? The last couple of years, the folks at NASCAR have shown that they can throw us a surprise and a curveball and go places we didn't think and move schedules around. Some of it's good. Most of it's good. Some of it's bad. So we'll see. See what happens when the schedule comes out. But more immediate concerns. We have got Watkins Glen coming up this week. I love Watkins Glen. It's my favorite road course on the circuit, unless they put Road America back, then that'll become my favorite. But if they going to Watkins Glen this weekend, where Kyle Larson won last year, and I talked to a guy this week, the Daytona 500 winner, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I love this guy. He's a great guy. I remember when he won his Xfinity Championship in Homestead. I was there, and we've been drinking a lot. So anyway, he's a great guy, who had quite the night beforehand and came into the media center, and we had a blast. So I was really happy for him to win that. I was thrilled for him to win Daytona. It did so much for him, for his sponsors, for his teams. It gave him a little extra swagger this year, knowing right out of the gate that he was locked into the playoffs. So I talked to him this week. He's got a special deal coming up at Watkins Glen, and I wrote an article off of it for Forbes. So you can go check that out over on Forbes. But I talked to him about that and about Watkins Glen and about the fact that he's had some swagger this year. The teams have got a lot of confidence, but it's time to maybe set back and start to get a little more serious as the playoffs get near. So here we are, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Okay, talking to Ricky Stenhouse Jr., drives for JTG Doherty Racing, and you won a race this year. My first question is, obviously, besides us asking you every time we talk to you, how has your life changed since you won the Daytona 500?
At the racetrack, it's been a lot more relaxing, knowing that we've already got a win and in the playoffs. So that's been nice to kind of, for us as a race team, just be able to be a little bit more loose, but a little bit more relaxed, and really focus on what we need to focus on to get better as a race team, knowing that if something doesn't go right that weekend, it's not completely over. So that's been nice. But for me, man, I've been really, really busy in a good way, being able to go out and promote our team, our sponsors, and NASCAR throughout the year. And so it's been a huge blessing to us, and I've really embraced it and enjoyed it.
So, you've had sponsors throughout your whole career. You've had some great ones, but, and you had the win, you were able to take that to the sponsor, but I can't imagine what it must be like. I mean, besides family, friends, and, the ring and everything, all that, what it was like to go back to that sponsor to provide the value that only a win in NASCAR's biggest race, actually one of America's biggest races, the Daytona 500. What was it like to be able to go back to them and provide them with this win? How did that feel?
Yeah, it was huge. Kroger's been a longtime partner of the sport of NASCAR and JTG Doherty Racing long before I ever got there. And to see how excited a lot of people that helped put this program together many years ago, how pumped up and excited they were. I felt like all of our partners, obviously we had Continental on the car that weekend, but all of our partners that are in this program really embraced that win and tried to take advantage of it. Right. It was the most eyes that, watch a NASCAR race were on that one.
Yeah.
That's our Super Bowl of the season. And so anytime you're able to win that, you got to take advantage of it. There's a lot of teams and drivers, and sponsors that don't get that opportunity to experience the winning of the Daytona 500 as a team. So it's been really cool to take that back to Cincinnati, Kroger's headquarters, and celebrate with everyone.
I know I saw you on social media with all the pictures with the at the headquarters and at different Kroger stores. I know it must have been great, but have you been able to notice that there's been an uptick of sponsor inquiries, maybe wanting more, something with some really good value? I mean, I know you got Kroger and they're great.
Yeah.
They're fantastic, but have you seen any uptick of sponsor inquiries on your side?
Yeah, things have definitely been, a lot more, beneficial for our team, and even me on the personal services side, and doing deals, doing interviews and things at racetracks, getting paid for it is nice. So I think for our race team, they've it's helped their selling process moving forward to 2024. We've been sold out in 2023, but that win definitely got everyone excited and thinking about the years to come, and what we can do at JTG Doherty Racing for them, and moving forward. So on the race team side, they said the sales have definitely been a little more frequent and easier to come by, which is always nice.
But you got Kroger, and I mean, Kroger's been a great sponsor. You see them everywhere, and obviously they've gotten a lot more attention. But you know what? I was talking about before we started recording. I've been in meetings all day, and I didn't have a chance to eat lunch. And I was like, okay, well, no, I gotta talk to Ricky. And I started like doing, looking at my background that I put together, and it was like all food products, Sunny D and Sara Lee, and
Oh
Cheez
yeah.
It and Kellogg's and all these different food products. So I had to stop and eat lunch in between
That's
all
all right.
this. But out of all that, because those are pretty standard products. I mean, you had Icy Hot was one, and like you said, Cottonelle, and then the Kellogg's with the Tony the Tiger, which I thought was a great paint scheme, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Now you got this Sugarlands deal with Kellogg's, which, to be truthful, I do have a box of Eggo waffles in my freezer because they're such
Who
a part of
doesn't? They're
Americana.
good.
But they got this thing where they're launching brunch in a jar. a delicious liqueur to
Oh
punch
yeah.
up brunch. What did you think about that when they first like approached you with this product? What did you think about it?
Yeah, I think they had mentioned it actually at the Daytona 500.
Oh,
I
really?
don't know if it was before or after we won the race, but they had mentioned that, hey, we got some cool things, coming down the line, and we're going to use the race team, to kind of help promote that. And obviously, the great correlation with already having, the two companies as partners on our race team, and so. Sugarlands, they've been doing a lot in our sport,
Yep.
and everybody eats Eggos, and the Sugarlands has been venturing out with different flavors. So they got a Sugarlands brunch in a jar, Eggo brunch in a jar, sipping cream, and basically it tastes a little bit. It's got a little bit of rum in it. It's got a taste of Eggo waffles, maple syrup, a little bit of butter, and some smoked kind of bacon flavor in there.
Interesting.
So it tastes delicious, and the race car looks really cool this weekend, and we're looking forward to getting it on track at Watkins Glen.
I saw that the paint scheme looks really cool. It's a waffle. You've got the waffle fire suit. It's
Oh
like
yeah,
waffles everywhere. And to be honest, I'm not, I normally don't like, endorse a lot of products, but this sounds really cool. I mean, I'm gonna try it. Anything to me that you put rum in, I'm on board with, man. Um,
that's true.
so I'm on board with this. So when you get something like this, did you try it before you really committed, or is it just like we're gonna do this, and you're like, okay, they're paying the bills, or
Oh, I commit to whatever my team tells me to commit to. So, but luckily our team is, just really good at making all of our partners, feel like family to our race team, and every single one of them matters to what we do, and how we perform on the racetrack. If we're not sold out in sponsorship, you have to start cutting corners, on your resources to make your race team faster. And so, every single one, obviously Kroger is our banner sponsor, but the things Kroger lets our company use to help promote products like Sugarland's new brunch in a jar, or Cheez-Its, or Frosted Flakes, or Nos Energy drink, you name it. They really help us, sell products in their store, and they do that through the race program. So it is a direct impact on our performance, we feel like. And like I said, we all feel like family. We do so much together throughout the year. It's a good fit.
so there was a couple years ago where you were maybe you know you weren't the best equipment, and you were struggling on the track. And I firmly believe that anybody that drives in the Cup Series has the talent to be there. I would never say
Yep.
anything against anybody's talent, but you must be in a good place now where you're competitive, you're winning races, and you're going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Tell me about looking forward to the playoffs. I mean, you probably feel like you got the best chance you've ever had in the playoffs.
I do. I feel like, when I signed at JTG Doherty Racing, we were supposed to have 1 year with the old car, and then we were going to get, the new car. But obviously, COVID and everything kind of shifted everything, another year back. And so we had to run another year with the old car. And, with the old car was tough, for teams, like JTG Doherty Racing to have the resources and building new cars, and keeping up with, kind of the mega teams. And so this new car definitely helped, bring, kind of level the playing field between the smaller teams and the bigger teams. But we found last year that, there was still big gaps, that we needed to fill. And so we learned a lot. We got a lot closer to Chevrolet this off season. Hendrick Motorsports has helped us out a lot more, and that's really elevated, our performance on the racetrack, and all of our notes from last year. So we feel really good. A lot of the racetracks we go to, that we can be in contention to run in the top 10, and battle for wins at all these different racetracks. Where I would say for the most part of my Cup Series career, I really haven't felt that confident going into some of these racetracks. So like I said, winning the Daytona 500 right out of the gate this year definitely gives you a little bit more confidence as well. But we've been able to back that up at a lot of racetracks to show that we've made pretty big leaps in the right direction.
You talked about being relaxed at the racetrack, which is what the Daytona 500 gives you. When we get to Darlington and we're there for the first race of the playoffs, is it going to be a little, and I don't want to say tension in a bad way, but like, is it going to be ramped up a little bit? Is there going to be a little bit of a different attitude when it's the first race of the playoffs? Because you already made it.
Yeah, I mean, our goal was to make the playoffs, and then now that we've made the playoffs, our goal is to go deep in the playoffs. We want to make a run and see how far we can get. So you got 3 races every single round. You can't have any off days. From the time Daytona's over that next week and going into Darlington. It's serious business. There's no mulligans, and you got to be sharp every time you hit the racetrack. You got to qualify well. You need good pit stops, good pit selection, and no mistakes throughout the race. So definitely the intensity will be kind of ramped up for us. The relaxing, the walking into the racetrack with not a ton of pressure is definitely going to be changed. Come Darlington week.
Well, I'll be at Daytona. I'll see you there. And I'm going to try this Eggos. We're going to have brunch, dude.
Let's have some brunch.
Yeah, we're going to have some brunch and try.
Not race day, but
no, not race day.
After or a few days before.
Yeah, because when I was growing up, my dad used to give us kids hot toddies whenever you have a sore throat, and it was rum, it was honey, and sugar, and I think those ingredients are in this. So us kids, my mom would get mad because
it'll take you back.
Yeah, that. And my mom, when we were growing up, my mom would get mad because she said, "You kids are always sick. Why are you always sick?" Dad's over there with a hot toddy. So it reminds me of that. So
that's awesome.
We'll have it there at Daytona. Let me finish with this. Have you ever said no to a sponsor throughout your entire career? Just to make you think.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like there's probably been something that they've wanted me to do. And I was like, I don't feel comfortable doing that. I can't really think of an actual scenario, but it's just something little. But for the most part, whatever the sponsor needs normally goes.
and that's who pays the bills. Well, I'm looking for the Kroger colors. And we don't have Kroger here in Orlando, so
you got delivery.
Got the delivery. Florida, I was going to say maybe they'll put you in a delivery truck, dude. And
that's right.
Come to the house.
Groceries to you quick.
Yeah, and I'll order some Eggo Shine there.
There you go.
We'll go with that. Ricky, thank you, my friend. I really appreciate it. Take care. Best of luck in the playoffs. I'll see you, like I said, at Darlington, and God only knows how many others. I'll see you.
Yes. Sounds good. Thanks for having me on.
So there you go. That's it. That's all I got for this week. We got Watkins Glen coming up. So we'll look forward to that. Who am I thinking is going to win there? Boy, it would be really cool if Chase Elliott won and he would shut all his critics up, including me, because I don't think he's going to make the playoffs, like I said before. But if he does, then I don't know what I'll do. I won't eat my hat for sure, but we'll see what happens. So it's going to be interesting to watch this weekend. My pick actually would be AJ Allmendinger. Now, if he can get his stuff together, he's had a couple bad races in terms of the pit stops and pit penalties, but if he can come together, I think he's got a real legitimate shot at winning this weekend. And also Kyle Larson could go back to back. So we'll see. Whatever, I don't wish drivers good luck. If you'll never hear me say that, because I tell them to have fun, because if they're having fun on the track, we're having fun watching them. So listen, you have fun, stay cool, stay out of the heat. Remember to hydrate, get some of this Eggo stuff, try it. The brunch, the jar, the brunch in a jar, the jar in a brunch. I forget what they call it, but I got some Eggo waffles in my freezer. So maybe I'll pour some rum in, try that. I don't know. Anyway, we'll talk to you later. Till next time, see you, everybody. Thanks for listening to Speed Talk Live. For questions or just to tell us how bad our production is or to leave other feedback, leave us a comment below. For all the latest NASCAR news, visit www.cupscene.com. Until next time, peace out and let's go racing.